Our story begins with us seeing an island. We zoom in closer to see someone lying on its shore. Then the scene changes to a girl, Madison, walking. She narrates that traveling is all about experiencing new things. She thinks people are limited if they don't get out into the world. She tells us there is a saying that the world is like a book. If one does not travel, one has only seen a single page. Traveling has made her realize how little she has truly seen. Her current country of visit is Thailand. She is taking pictures of herself on her phone. We keep seeing different moments of her rich traveling experience. The young pretty girl is a social media personality, recording videos of the exotic country and uploading them to her site. As she watches her newly uploaded video, we hear the comments start flooding in. Due to that, we can guess she is quite successful. Shortly after, she sits in her room talking to her friend on a video call. This is followed by her taking a photo of herself while holding a product. Settling down a notch from the rush of her interesting life, we see her sitting at a bar where she takes another picture of herself. There is an older man there who offers to take a picture for her, but the experienced Madison lets him know she can do it herself. Coming closer to her, he asks where she is from. California is her state, and he's from the UK. His reason for being in Thailand is to escape the British rain. He came for a visit and never left. While he talks, there is a girl there who comes to sit at the bar. The man tells Madison that if she's alone, he could show her around. Those words seem to affect the new girl, making her forcefully interject that he should take a hint. Since she is going for a walk, she invites Madison to join her. As they walk, the girl, CW, tells Madison to be careful around guys like him. Madison thought he was harmless. CW wants to know why she is traveling alone. The reason is that Madison's boyfriend, Ryan, planned this trip together, though he bailed at the last minute. Madison hears how magical Thailand is. Her days, however, are of her sitting by the pool. CW takes an instant liking to her because she asks what her plans are tomorrow. Once tomorrow arrives, we see whatever plan they came up with as the duo are riding on a scooter together. After that, they hike up a hill and Madison starts recording a video. CW turns away from the recording. Upon being asked why, she says she doesn't like being on camera. She then uses her camera to take a picture of Madison. At night, the new friends continue enjoying their first meeting. Madison has to take pictures of almost everything. Asking CW if she never took photos of her food gets her the answer that CW would prefer to eat it instead. She also asks why Ryan isn't there with her. Madison doesn't answer her. She looks at two young guys walking by themselves, who are about the same age as the girls. The next thing we witness is the four of them sharing the night. When they are done with the boys, the girls walk alone again. They hug each other before Madison says she wishes she met her sooner. Madison starts heading to her room, searching for something in her bag that she can't seem to find. She walks to her building to see the front doors open. This doesn't look good for the traveler, who slowly walks through the area, calling out to anyone that might be there. She enters her room and experiences the horror of seeing that it has been broken into. The place is a mess. Later, she stands there crying while CW comes to her. She says a report has been filed. Plus, she will keep on the lookout. On the next day, they sit together elsewhere. CW informs her that she will have to travel to Bangkok to pick up her new passport from the embassy. Madison doesn't like the idea of being stuck there for 2 more weeks, but her stay does not have to be boring, because she has a new friend that could help make it fun. At another hour, Madison talks to Ryan, telling him she won't be able to make her flight due to her passport being stolen. Her boyfriend replies that this happening is very much like her. He wants to know how it happened, since his attitude is somewhat pressing. Madison thinks they need to break up. She ends the call, despite Ryan not having agreed to end it. On a different day, Madison rides on a boat with CW. The former continues to film as much as she can. They have fun together. Eventually, she gets a message from Ryan, complaining she's not responding to him. She probably didn't have phone service to respond. The message makes her upset. Then the duo ride to CW's place, a house Madison instantly loves. She tells CW she has some ideas about what they should do tomorrow. In turn, CW teases her with a surprise she has for that day. At dawn, the girls walk on a dock, until CW gets into a boat. Madison is pleasantly surprised that she owns one. She starts recording a video, but her friend says to wait till they get to their destination. So they start riding in the motorboat. The place they arrive at is an island. Madison comes to a big log to see that someone was keeping track of something because of the tally marks on it. Her phone shows her that there is no internet. CW tells her cheerfully that she finally gets a break from her job. At night, the duo sit by a fire. It brings back memories to Madison. She hasn't been in front of a fire in a decade. When she was a Girl Scout, they would tell scary stories to each other by the fire. Madison says that one girl, who told the darkest stories, would have thought CW brought her to the island to take her life. Disagreeing with that, CW says she wouldn't do it that way. Madison jokes that she's disappointed. The girl continues her thought that she would instead leave Madison on the island. She starts describing the event of how Madison would wake up to find herself alone. She would search for food, yet would require a lot of luck with that. Despite being surrounded by water, she wouldn't be able to drink any of it. CW guesses that her friend would last for 3 or 4 days. Afterward, she would fade into obscurity and no one would come looking for her. The sand crabs would eat her body, leaving only her bones. Once that disturbing thought is finished, Madison just laughs. She appreciates CW's imagination. However, she thinks there is one flaw in it, that people would notice she is gone. CW replies that Madison sells products to little girls. Those kinds of people can't come looking for her. If CW takes over her account, no one would notice. Again, Madison jokes, saying that would be a relief. But she thinks they would notice. CW wonders if social media makes Madison happy. It doesn't make her feel alone, is what her friend says. According to CW, being an influencer makes one believe they are at the center of the universe. She says that no one is. That causes Madison to stand and say that everyone is absolutely in her story. She even starts dancing to that thought. Interestingly, the opening credits start after that. Morning comes to show us a sleeping Madison. Unfortunately, the girl who brought her there is awake, beginning to do as she described last night. She gets in her motorboat to leave Madison alone on the island. The wicked girl wasn't joking. 3 weeks later, we see someone riding in a taxi that looks like it could be Madison. She engages in the job of an influencer, telling her followers how vibrant the country of Thailand is. She also says how one does not know what a new place has to offer. She likes to get up at 5:30, believing that the early bird gets the worm. She also tries to always respond to her fans. Although we are hearing all of this through Madison's voice, the house we see is not occupied by her. CW is the one writing all of this to Madison's followers. She has taken over the influencer's account. That's another thing she wasn't lying about. She even has a blonde wig to imitate Madison. We see moments of the influencer's life that she has hijacked. Soon, she goes to the ATM to take out the money she earned. We observe how she cuts out her face in the pictures she took to superimpose Madison's face. She even uses certain software that allows her to use Madison's face in the videos. CW is a real professional at identity theft. She tells Madison's fans that she wants to take a break from social media. The reason she's probably doing this is because she won't be able to travel out of Thailand. To keep properly impersonating a traveler, one has to travel. CW states she isn't sure when she will be back. We see her sitting alone somewhere, looking out at the beach. She does not look very happy. There could be several reasons for this, though one of them has to be because she won't be able to collect further money from Madison's account. At home, she searches for Bangkok on a social media site. Finding a photo of a non-local lady prompts her to click on it. She takes an instant interest in her, due to the lady being another influencer like Madison. We then see the lady sitting alone at a fancy restaurant. Once she leaves, we see CW is there, stalking her. She follows the new influencer in a taxi. They both get out on a certain street, and CW keeps following her on foot. She is a persistent individual. In a souvenir store, CW finally makes herself known to the lady. She tells her that the item she's holding is fake, but she doesn't care, so she buys it anyway. The fraudster seems somewhat upset that the lady didn't take her advice. Back at home, CW continues to watch the lady on her website. She is Jessica. CW makes it look like she accidentally runs into her at a bar. She even asks Jessica if she is following her. Soon, CW says she is one of her many followers online. She talks quickly before apologizing for it. When she starts leaving, Jessica asks with interest if she truly follows her online. Due to this question, CW wears a look of success. The next scene has them talking on a more personal level. CW says her boyfriend was supposed to be there with her, yet he bailed, leading her to where she is now. We notice right away she is using Madison's story. She also says she could never travel all the time like Jessica does. Later, Jessica is getting her pictures taken. As CW sits near her purse, she swiftly takes out Jessica's hotel access card. This is what she did with Madison, though we never saw it. Who knows how many other influencers CW did this to. Afterward, the duo walk together, and Jessica says she has to cut their time short because of something her sponsor wants her to do. CW acts understandingly to this. Subsequently, she enters Jessica's hotel room to give the unsuspecting lady the same treatment she gave to Madison. At another hour, she sits outside the hotel when Jessica returns. She sits there, waiting for a phone call. Soon enough, her phone rings. The fraudster answers it with fake friendliness. Then she takes Jessica to the same house she took Madison before the latter's life got ruined. Surprisingly, flower petals decorate the entrance, leading downstairs. CW follows them, along with Jessica. They lead the duo to a table with a prepared dinner. The one who prepared it suddenly comes out. It is none other than Ryan, Madison's boyfriend. He thought he would be greeting Madison. It turns out that all of them received a shock tonight. Ryan informs CW who he is, upon being asked. Yet CW thought Madison broke up with him. Ryan says Madison never said anything about anyone staying there. He says the place is registered under her name. Before going to Madison's room, he tells CW to tell him if she gets a hold of his girlfriend. CW stands there with chaos cooking in her mind. How will she deal with this huge unforeseen inconvenience? But she has to turn around with a smile for Jessica. In the morning, Ryan and the fraudster are in a room together. It doesn't take long for him to receive a call from Madison. He asks where she is, which gets him the response that she changed her plans, along with wanting him to leave. However, it's not truly Madison he's talking to. It is CW, using Madison's voice from her laptop. She called him from Madison's phone number. Again, it must be said that the girl is an expert at identity theft. She uses the girl's voice to confirm that their relationship is over. Therefore, she urges that he leave. Breaking up over the phone is not something he can agree to. He needs to see her in person. Jessica then comes to ask CW if she's ready to go. Since the trickster wants to go a little later, Ryan volunteers to take Jessica because he knows some nice areas. Now CW is forced to change her mind to go with them. Things are starting to turn sour for her. Elsewhere, Ryan takes pictures of Jessica while CW orders food. Ryan informs the influencer that Madison's place got broken into, and her passport got stolen. At that moment, CW comes to interrupt them by saying their food is ready. At a different time, Jessica looks at CW somewhat suspiciously. She asks Ryan what happened between him and Madison. As he starts answering, CW interrupts again, claiming that they should start moving. Jessica agrees, saying they should make sure their rooms aren't broken into. At this point, we know the lady is suspicious of her new friend. There is tension in the air now, growing denser with every sentence uttered. That pertains to what CW tries to cover up. After having mentioned the break-in, Jessica wears a knowing smile. CW keeps on with her lie, saying break-ins happen very often where they stay. Jessica sits there, not knowing what conclusion to reach regarding this mess. The trio now occupy a bar. CW gets a message on her phone from Madison's account that Jessica wants to send her a message. Unnerved, the girl turns around to look in the direction where Jessica should be sitting, only to see that she isn't there anymore. CW exits the bar to witness Jessica getting into a taxi. Then she reads the message she just received. Jessica wants to talk to Madison about CW. The break-in also gets mentioned. This does not bode well for our antagonist. She needs to think of a solution to deal with this matter. But she's not the kind of person who would take someone's life with a bullet or a knife, is she? Upon returning to the house, CW finds Jessica leaving with her belongings. Jessica is surprised to see her back. She says she found a hotel because she didn't want to take any more of CW's time. The girl wonders if she did something wrong. Getting slightly annoyed, Jessica mentions the incident that occurred with Madison. Since CW was there at that time, she knows something isn't right with her. After a few more agitated exchanges, Jessica calls CW creepy. As she starts walking away, CW slams her head into a wall. The poor lady starts crawling on the floor, in pain mixed with shock. Slowly following her, CW says Jessica doesn't know anything about her. The problem, she claims, is that the influencer is entitled. Near the pool, CW tells her that no one will notice she is gone before taking her life. It looks like the fraudster could take someone's life after all. In the next scene, we see Jessica lying inside her own luggage. CW cleans the blood from the floor. Suddenly, she hears music turn on because Ryan has returned. To make it worse, he brought some people over and even points at her. She is weird to him, that's why he does it. He comes down to meet her, only for her to tell him his friends need to leave. Madison does not want him there, she says, so the least he can do is get them out. Reluctantly, Ryan complies. Shortly after, CW stands having a smoke while thinking about what she should do. Eventually, she decides to take a knife. Standing behind Ryan's door with the weapon in her hand, she hears a message on her phone. She opens it to see that Ryan has uploaded a picture of Jessica on his social media site. In the background of that photo, CW stands visibly. The next day has Ryan joining the identity thief at the breakfast table. She has prepared a meal for him. It's her apology for last night. She also says that Jessica left, and she allows him to stay until Madison returns. When CW leaves, he looks at Madison's page. It shows her standing with some other guy, who she claims is the new love of her life. Of course, Ryan is affected by this. Later, he drives somewhere on a scooter, and CW soon joins him there. He tells her Madison's account has gone downhill. He then shows her a photo of her hugging a big stuffed bear, adding that he took the picture. He thinks it was him who brought out who she has become. CW tells him she would love it if a guy came halfway across the world to look for her. She also says that if Madison doesn't see that, she isn't worth being with. Following this, the duo occupy a bar. CW puts something in Ryan's drink. They sit talking about social media stardom. He thinks CW would do rather well on social media. She is unique, according to him. The man could even help her. Afterward, they come back home. Ryan is strongly affected by the substance she placed in his drink, so she has to help him walk. She lays him on the bed to remove his clothes. Next, she holds his phone above his face to unlock it. Accessing his social media site, she deletes the photo that has CW standing in the background. After doing that, she makes it look like they engaged in intimacy, even though they did not. Is there anything real about this girl? In the morning, CW tells him they should get going, because he has 1 hour left before his ferry leaves. Once she drives him to the ferry on her motorbike, she expresses her fake disappointment that he has to leave. He seems to be surprised to hear that from her. Surprised, in a way like he doesn't believe her. He stands on the ferry, contemplating his strange situation. He also looks back at CW, sitting there on her motorbike, looking at him. Alone again, she starts burning the items she needed to impersonate Madison. The wig gets burned, yet she keeps her diary. Madison's passport, however, is thrown into an affair with the flames. Then we get a flashback of how Ryan met Madison. As they play a game somewhere, Madison asks for confirmation that someone was pretending to be Ryan the entire time. He confirms it by saying it was one of his friends. Ryan was not awake at that time. Shortly after, he takes a picture of her with the stuffed bear that he showed to CW. That is the moment he tells her she could get a big following on social media from pictures like that. people would find her refreshing. Plus, there could be a lot of money involved. Ryan even proposes to help her do it. We see this is how Madison's life as an influencer began. Returning to the present, Ryan holds his phone in the place where Madison stands with her fake new boyfriend. The man did not go through with his ferry ride. He goes inside to show the receptionist a picture of Madison, and she says she didn't see his girlfriend. Later, he sits drinking at the bar. The older man from the beginning comes to join him. He instantly sees that Ryan has relationship trouble. He was divorced 3 times, which is how he knows the look. Showing him a picture of Madison, Ryan asks if he's seen her. It's been quite a while since he has, so he can't remember. Ryan has to mention the break-in she experienced in order for the man's memory to be refreshed. He tells Ryan he hasn't seen them since the incident he mentioned. That causes Ryan to question the plurality of the word, them. The other person he had in mind is the girl with the birthmark on her face. Of course, Ryan knows who he is talking about. He says Madison was at the hotel yesterday, showing him the picture being posted on that day. The older man is observant, pointing out that the picture does not show a single cloud. They are in the rainy season now. There hasn't been a sunny day for weeks. At this point, Ryan realizes something is seriously amiss. Elsewhere, he has a video chat with Madison's friend. He says he didn't have a video call with the girl in a while. Similarly, Ryan says he's spoken to her, but he hasn't seen her. He reflects that no one has. The last thing Madison's friend says is that she would have told him about a new guy she met. This time, she didn't. Ryan then watches one of Madison's videos. He watches it several times, like a detective searching for some irregularity. He focuses on the left side of her face, because it seems slightly discolored. Checking frame by frame now, he soon lands on a frame that shows him the dark spot on her face. He realizes that it's her instead of Madison, and even visualizes the horrific image of his girlfriend's identity being stolen from her. He is the one to have caught the professional thief. It prompts him to return to CW's stolen house. He cautiously searches for her there. Finding her backpack, Ryan looks through it to find Madison's diary. He hears CW coming down the stairs. When she comes down, he surprises her by knocking the girl unconscious. She wakes up at a different time, having him splash water on her. She sits restrained on a chair, while he asks her where Madison is. He reads from her diary that CW has taken her somewhere. Ryan is confused, questioning CW's motivation for doing all this. He wonders if she just wants to be liked. After he threatens her with calling the police, CW tells him that he beat her up and restrained her, so his position does not look good. She also says Madison showed her messages that said Ryan hit her several times. Yet he says CW sent those messages. Who are the police going to believe is the question she throws at him. She proposes to take Ryan to the place Madison resides at. The next scene has the duo walking on the dock at night. She is still restrained, and he still wields a knife. Once he looks at her boat, she knocks him into the water. The man let his guard down. She jumps in there with him. Being there allows her to get her arms to the front side of her body. CW starts choking Ryan with her restrained hands. He is unable to effectively use his knife to retaliate against her. There is simply no stopping this girl, because she takes his life. If her fraudulent schemes don't work, she can just bring about a person's physical end. After that, she places his body on her boat to cover it. Back at home, she writes about the bad things Ryan did to Madison on the latter's account. Looking through his backpack, she finds an engagement ring there. The poor guy was planning on proposing to Madison. This makes the situation even sadder. However, the wicked girl doesn't shed a tear. She just puts the ring on her finger. In the morning, she looks at the messages she received from last night's post regarding Ryan. She watches Madison's friend's video of how he says he always knew Ryan was a predator. Ryan lost his life, only to have insult added to his fatal injury. Then the awaited moment finally arrives, when CW drives her motorboat back to the island. Getting on the shore, fear strikes her because she witnesses items sorted out there that indicate survival. The strongest indicator is that there are almost 40 tally marks on the big log. This causes CW to rush to her boat to collect a shovel. Equipped with it, she cautiously scouts the island for Madison. Soon, she arrives at a place that has 2 grave marks. As she looks at them, Madison comes behind her to slam her down. She gives her a second dose of pain afterward. Surprisingly, there aren't more strikes. Madison comes to the shore, looking very disheveled. She sits in the boat, where she finds a lifeless Ryan. Meanwhile, CW opens her eyes. She hears the devastating sound of the motor running on her boat. Running to the shore, she observes that her boat is already more than 100 feet away from her. She can't help but laugh at her situation. Everything finally came back around to her. Madison rides back home, wearing a look of being destroyed, yet determined. She will forever be affected by this life-changing experience. What will happen to CW is uncertain. Will she prove to be an outstanding survivor, like Madison?